If you're an experienced professional, you've probably been networking the same way for, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years? But the game has totally changed. So today, we're going to talk about how to flip your strategy, moving from leading with your years of service to leading with your expertise. It's a shift that can literally make you a magnet for new opportunities.
So be honest, have you ever started a networking conversation with a line like this? It feels like the right move, doesn't it? The most logical way to show you know your stuff? Well, it's not. In fact, it's a huge mistake. With just that one sentence, you've accidentally made yourself unfindable, unhirable, and honestly, kind of forgettable. It just puts you in a box.
Just look at the difference here. When you lead with tenure, 25 years of experience, what do you think people hear? Well, often they hear things like expensive, inflexible, or maybe even outdated. Ouch. But when you lead with your expertise, I specialize in financial transformation, you immediately sound like a strategic advisor, a problem solver. You're the same person, but the perception is worlds apart.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to break down the experience trap. Then we'll go through 4 really common, outdated networking habits that are probably holding you back. After that, we'll get to the good stuff, your new networking playbook, packed with modern strategies. And we'll wrap it all up with a 5-step action plan you can literally start using the second this is over.
Okay, so let's dig into this core problem. Your decades of experience should be your single greatest asset, right? But the way so many of us talk about it actually ends up working against us. It's kind of like having a Ferrari, but only ever driving it in first gear. You have all this power, but you're just not using it the right way. This right here is the fundamental mindset shift you absolutely have to make. Stop seeing yourself as someone looking for a job. Start acting like a strategic advisor. A person who shares valuable insights, who solves problems, who makes connections for others. When you start leading with generosity, it's amazing how opportunities just start finding you.
And that old mindset, it leads to some pretty common mistakes. So let's do a little self-diagnosis here. We're going to look at 4 outdated habits that might be tripping you up. And hey, as we go through them, just see if any of these sound a little too familiar.
Okay, here they are. First, tenure leading. We've talked about that one. Second is job-seeking signaling. That's when every conversation you have screams, "I'm looking for a job." Third, passive networking. This is just sitting back and waiting for the phone to ring. Spoiler, it won't. And fourth, single-channel dependency. You're only on LinkedIn or you only go to in-person events, but you're not doing both. These are the traps we need to avoid.
All right, so now that we know what not to do, let's get constructive. It's time to build your new playbook. We're going to cover 3 powerful, modern strategies that will replace those old habits for good.
First up, this is a real game changer, especially for LinkedIn. It's called the WISE method. Think of it as a simple 4-part framework that's designed to make your outreach messages sound like a strategic insight from an industry peer, not a cold pitch from a job seeker.
Let's break down what WISE stands for. W is for a warm introduction. You're going to reference something you have in common, a shared connection, something you saw them post. I is for industry insight. Show them you're paying attention and you have a unique perspective. S is for offering specific value. You give before you ask for anything. And finally, E is for an easy ask, a super low commitment request for a quick chat, not a job. So here's what that looks like in the real world. Something like, "Hi Sarah, I noticed your recent post about the challenges of digital transformation in healthcare. Your point about data integration really hit home with some patterns I've been seeing. I'd be happy to share a few strategies that have worked well. Would you be open to a brief conversation about market trends in this space?" See that? There's zero mention of tenure or looking for a role. It's all pure professional value.
Okay, next up, let's talk about the absolute gold mine you are probably sitting on right now, your dormant network. We're talking about all those former colleagues, old clients, people you went to school with. Most of us just let these connections fizzle out, and then it feels awkward to reach out, right? Well, we're going to fix that. And the process is actually really simple. First, do a little research on them, see what they're up to now. Find a reason to connect that's about them, not about you. Second, send a really warm, friendly reconnection message. You can acknowledge it's been a while, but then focus on the present. And third, and this is key, follow up with something valuable, an interesting article, an introduction to someone, a useful insight.
And this brings us to a really critical piece of what I call relationship math. The rule is simple but powerful. Aim to provide value at least 3 times before you even think about making an ask. This isn't just about being a nice person, though that's good too. This is a strategy. It builds up so much goodwill that people actually want to help you when the time comes because you've already helped them.
All right, our third strategy is all about how you show up. When you go to events, stop trying to collect a million business cards. Focus on having a few high-quality conversations. And with professional associations, don't just pay your dues and be a name on a list. Get involved. Join a committee. Volunteer to speak. This is how you contribute your expertise and build a reputation as a leader in your field.
And when you find yourself in those conversations, use this super simple 3-part framework. Start with discovery. Ask them great questions about their industry and what they're seeing. Then move to insight sharing. Connect what they just said to patterns or trends you've noticed. And finally, get to a value exchange. Offer to make an introduction or send them a useful resource. This turns boring small talk into a real strategic dialogue.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. The mindset, the mistakes, and the brand new playbook. Now let's bring it all home and translate this into a clear 5-step action plan you can start working on today. Here it is, your roadmap. Number 1, conduct a full positioning audit on your LinkedIn profile and your resume. 2, create 3 different WISE message templates you can use for outreach. 3, identify and reactivate at least 15 dormant connections. 4, map out a real strategy for the next industry event you attend. And 5, join and, more importantly, actively engage with one professional association. Now, that first step, that positioning audit, is absolutely crucial. You've got to find and replace all of that old tenure-based language. And look, there are even tools out there that can help. One is called PassTheScan. It's designed to analyze your resume and LinkedIn profile specifically to find those age-revealing phrases and help you swap them out with powerful expertise-focused language. So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. After everything we've covered today, really ask yourself this. When you introduce yourself, is your network hearing an expert with specific, valuable solutions to their problems? Or are they just hearing a number? Because now you know how to make sure the choice is yours.